Hello everyone and welcome to another buff breakdown. So yesterday we were supposed to get a 4-star assassin buff, but there was some kind of an issue and they had to delay it for today. And today we were going to have another 4-star assassin buff. So after they fixed the bug, they decided we're just going to release 2 4-star assassin buffs in one day. So on that note, we have buffs for Kiritsugu, yes indeed, there he is, and also Stheno of all servants. These two were among my 4 or 5 predictions because, yeah, they definitely could use more love. So I'm happy to see buffs for these two. Definitely well deserved. Let's start by talking about the Kiritsugu buff first. So it's a buff to his first skill. So previously on a 5-turn cooldown, he got 40% arts up for himself for 1 turn, and that was it. So it was an arts beta burst, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously good when it's active and lots of downtime, nothing else. So very not good skill. I was already complaining about this on the assassin tier list last week. So let's see what they did. So now on the same 5-turn cooldown, he still gets 40% arts up for himself, but now it is 3 turns. Wow. And then they added a new line, this on attack buff. So now every time he attacks for 5 times 3 turns, he removes one latest buff from the target. And if he actually happens to be successful at removing a buff, he gets 15% attack for 3 turns. Wow. So again, this is, I believe, with every single attack, including his MP as well. And I had to check, because I didn't see it listed in Atlas, but it's also before damage. Very cool. So I assume that means the attack up also happens before damage, which is awesome. That's a lot. That's very important, actually. So again, this buff is applied to him for 5 times 3 turns. So let's say get the best case scenario, you remove 5 buffs. That's 75% attack up from this. That's a crazy amount. That on top of the 40% arts for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. This skill is now a insane offensive boost. Like, let's say you don't even remove any buffs from the enemy, you get 0 attack. That's still a lot of arts up on a very good uptime. So now the skill, despite being basic, is super strong on numbers. And again, the MP also removes a buff. So honestly, if the enemy, let's say they only have like a 1-turn invul on them, you MP, well, you don't necessarily need the invul pierce anymore even. You just have this up and it gets removed before the MP even does damage, if it can be removed, that is. So that's awesome. Same with special invul, for instance. It's a very nice skill. Obviously, way better when the bosses have a lot of buffs on them. But again, just having this arts up on a 3-turn is a big upgrade for him. Because his MP really actually does hit fairly hard. But his face cards are so bad for gains, it was kind of hard to get his MP. But now when you have constantly like way more arts up, the MP actually will refund way more because it's a 15 hitter. So despite the low MP gain on it, it will still refund a good chunk with this active. So this is a great and well-deserved buff. I like this quite a bit. So last week on our brand new assassin tier list, we placed him in a C+, but with this, he's easily B now. Maybe even B+. You know what? I'm gonna jump the gun and just put him on B+ already. I might still prefer Shiki, we'll see. Or maybe they could be very close now. We'll see. But I'm a huge fan of this buff. Very good, much needed. Great choice of a buff. So let's talk Stheno next. Our good old divine charm lock support thingy. So yeah, she also got a skill buff. Let's see what we got. So surprisingly to me, when we saw the assassin buffs, I was hoping that we covered so many vampirism season, that list. I think there were like 3 of them among 4-star assassins, and these are all trash because they don't scale up to 100% with the drain and the battery only scales up to 27%. So I was assuming at least 1 of these to be buffed, hopefully 2 to fix those awkward numbers and maybe add a new line, like make them unique for all the servants, give them all something that matches themselves. But no, they did not buff the vampirism, which I feel like is a missed opportunity. But let's see what they did anyway, because they buffed the 2nd skill. So previously, her 2nd skill on a 7-turn cooldown had a 100% base chance on max rank to charm 1 male enemy for 1 turn, and that was it. Obviously plays into her charm lot because her MP also comes equipped with the same thing on a base overcharge. So she could be like this anti-male charm bot thingy at times. So let's see what they did. So now on the same 7-turn cooldown, she has the same 100% base chance on max rank to charm an enemy for 1 turn, but now it is an enemy. It is no longer tied to the male gender. So that's pretty interesting, considering the MP is still tied to the male gender. Second skill no longer is. So charm away. Anyone who can be debuffed, you can, you know, charm lock them, I guess, now with this skill. And then the full party now gets a 20% rainbow buff for 3 turns. That's pretty cool. Obviously, the uptime still won't be the best because it's still on 7-turn cooldown and these are 3 turns, so you're still going to have an effective 4 turns of downtime. But I like it. I like that they're giving her more offensive tools, because one of the reasons you might bring her was because you wanted a bit more damage with some control on top, because again, her third skill gives 40% attack for divine allies for 3 turns. But now she also offers the rainbow to everyone, including herself, by the way, which makes it a little bit easier to get to her MP as well, because you kind of do want to MP on bosses because you get a free buff removal, and you also get a, you know, decent chunk of defense down as well for more damage. So this not only helps her teammates do more damage, but also while her own damage won't be good, it at least helps her own MP to be used a bit more often. And also worth noting, this is actually synergy for Yui Shosetsu, the 4-star caster, because now you have a universal rainbow, so you can, you know, pretty cool. I actually think that combo will be quite interesting. I actually want to see some videos about that. But yeah, it's a great buff. I am quite perplexed that Vampirism CC still exists like this. Hopefully they're gonna fix these again in the near future for all the other 4-star assassins as well. But as is, I still hate this skill. It sucks as. It's not reliable. The battery is awkward. But at least these two... Oops. At least these two are very, very nice now, especially for a 4-star servant. And again, it being a rainbow, I do enjoy as well, because it keeps her in this universal roles. As long as your ally who you're supporting is divine, which is a fairly common trait, you don't have to worry about, you know, their card type. So that's cool. So on the assassin tier list, much like Carrie, she was also C+, one of the lower ranks we had. And with this... definitely B tier, at least. Definitely B tier. I think I'm gonna leave her there for now. But yeah, she actually has way more use cases again, especially with that Yui synergy in mind. But not sure if I would still use her very often, but certainly not a terrible option to have at this point. So before we wrap up, tomorrow we are getting a 5-star Berserker buff, so I might as well drop my prediction here. And also, funnily enough, tomorrow we're actually doing the the Berserker tier list in general. So that's going to be like 3 hours after this buff drops, so it's going to be super fresh. So I can't honestly wait. It's a pretty interesting timing. So while the Assassins had a terrible timing, you know, less than a week after the tier list, at least the Berserker one will be quite perfect timing. So my prediction for the 5-star Berserker buff is for Shan Yu, personally. I think he's one of the most underwhelming 5-star Berserkers. By no means trash, but certainly could use a boost compared to a lot of his peers. Another option they could do is Nightingale. Her supporting is still awkward, especially if you plan on going for a longer run, because she's so vulnerable. So there's definitely stuff they could do with her as well. But my prediction, my main prediction, will go on Shan Yu. So let's see what we get tomorrow. So there you go. Again, apologies, there was no buff breakdown yesterday because the delay happened, so it is what it is. But at least today you get a 2-for-1, rejoice. So on that note, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button. It really helps out, of course. And do subscribe not to miss out on future videos. Tomorrow we cover the 5-star Berserker buff, and right after that, I welcome you all to join us on the Berserker tier list. And if you can't make it, it will be up on YouTube, most likely the same day, or at least at most a day later. So on that note, I hope you guys have a great weekend up ahead, and see ya in the next video. Bye bye.